We all have a game or a series of games that introduced us to this virtual hobby. It's not necessarily the first game we played, but more specifically that one that got us hooked. We often remember these games being a lot more glamorous than they truly were. Often when recalling back to the days when they built influence into our lives, we recall them being expansive, deep, and invigorating. When in reality they more accurately represented in pixelated experiences lacking in many areas that our young imaginations helped fill in. These are our individual gaming origin stories, which is not my focus today. Instead I want to talk about the titles that defined our genre preferences, our playstyles, the games that defined us as gamers. More specifically, I want to discuss the game that crafted me into a gamer and how its latest rendition has me loving it regardless of it not meeting the expectations of the fans. I am of course talking about Quake Champions, as you can see with the amazing beta gameplay in the background. I started playing Quake around 96, that's close to the end of the previous decade for the young ones wondering. I was fortunate to have a dad who loved technology and was an early adopter of all things techie. He was also a fan of id Software, the designers of Quake, and by association so was I. But it wasn't until 1999, the literal end of the millennium, when Quake 3 Arena was released, that I finally realized that I was an FPS fanatic. Quake 3 Arena was a milestone in competitive gaming, bringing with it a uniqueness that few other games had around the same time, and many other successful games imitated or attempted to match years down the line. This uniqueness was mastery. Quake 3 Arena was a tough game for all who had a swing at it, but even when you managed to ace a single player on the highest nightmare difficulty, which mind you is an impressive accomplishment, the game would only prove tougher when you finally found yourself facing off against a veteran human player. Don't misunderstand me though, all games have amazingly skilled players that make the multiplayer aspect tougher than the base game. But Quake 3 had a hidden element, a few game engine anomalies that were at first exploited, but instead of being shunned by the community and patched out, they were rather adopted and perfected as gameplay mechanics. These mechanics added a new layer of mastery to the game. No longer was map knowledge and weapon proficiency good enough. Instead, reaching immeasurable speeds in arenas, rocket jumping to out of reach areas, and overbouncing in various ways to get speed and trajectory advantages previously thought impossible were elements that crafted a whole new standard for becoming a pro at the game. One of those mechanics was strafe jumping, as I'm illustrating now. Keep an eye on the speed counter to the left of the screen. Each of these pads I'm jumping to is further from the previous one. This speed is accomplished by a symphony of precise counter-strafe movements accompanied by perfectly timed flicks of the mouse in the opposite direction to your bearing. Using a mix of rocket jumps and these movement mechanics, you could reach areas first thought impossible to get to. With enough practice, however, you could very easily gain full control of a map by maintaining item, ammo and weapon spawn superiority that, when paired with good accuracy and just general first-person skills, would keep you in the lead round after round. There were some far-out unconventional anomalies that only a select few players perfected, like overbouncing, where you could reach your exact apex of a jump no matter how high if you simply hit the ground while moving at exactly 0 units per second. Now you might be wondering, what does this all have to do with Quake Champions? Well, a lot. Since Quake 3 Arena, there have been many attempts to recreate the game due to its massive cult following and communities stuck in the past, yearning to experience it all over again. I personally feel that both Quake 4's multiplayer and the free-to-play title that eventually got a price tag, Quake Live, were both weak attempts that did more harm than good. There is a lot of speculation or rumors going around that these elements like strafe jumping, are not present in Quake Champions, and thus it's just another lackluster attempt at recreating what many of us believed to be the best arena shooter experience that was ever made. Now first of all, that's all entirely false. Strafe jumping has seen a change, yes. With speed caps on all but one character, it's added a twist, but it still remains a very viable mechanic, and one that is still very much alive and well. Even dare I say it, easier in Quake Champions. Secondly, and in a large part one of the main reasons I made this video, what I really want to say is that Quake Champions is a fresh take, a new horizon for the series, and a welcome one at that. It's time we understand that Quake 3 Arena had come and gone. It is dated, outclassed, and frankly technologically lacking. And as much as I love reminiscing about the days on the Game Zone 20 servers, I am much more inclined to rather welcome this new competitor to the fold. If the currently running beta is indicative of one thing, it's that this is a necessary change. Not big enough to alienate fans of previous arena shooters, but different enough to be better. Bethesda and id Software are doing a lot to keep the Quake Arena culture alive, with many a tip of the hat in the form of returning characters, popular map overhauls, and a series of our favorite modes, including one-on-one 20s. I'm especially hoping for localized servers, but for that we need to show interest in force. So with this I implore you, give it a go even if you have your doubts. An open beta has not yet been confirmed, but the closed beta seems easy enough to get into. I'll link the beta application page in the description below. Thanks for watching guys. Keep an eye out for more content from us as Quake Champions makes its way to release, and as always, I'll see you guys online. Hello.